how are you? I hope you are all fine. Children, today shall we start yesterday's topic? That is our sources. Children, our last class topic is sources. What is sources, children? Sources is the past things or the things which are used by human beings in their past. Children, I will repeat. Sources. Sources is the things used by human beings in the past. So I will just write it as a things used in past. Children, is it clear? We are referring sources. Why sources are important? Sources are important to construct or to study the history. So, sources, things used in the past by the human being, that present we will get and we will study, and that we will call it as a sources. Okay, children? In the sources, on the basis of a material, on the basis of a material, we classify sources as two types. That is literary sources. Another one is archaeological sources. Is it, children? Yesterday in the last class I have done this. On the basis of a material of the sources can be classified as the literary sources and archaeological sources. In that, we have studied literary sources as written and oral. Clear, children? On the basis of a material, the types are classified as literary sources. Literary sources means our sources are found in the form of a literature. Children, literary sources means our sources are found in the form of a literature. On that basis, again it was classified in two types, that was written, another one is oral. In that, literary sources, when it was classified as a written sources, again it will be two types, that is native literary, another one is foreign literary sources. So children, literary sources are again two types, native literature and foreign literature. Native literature is sources that are produced by native writer in a native language, such as Kalidasa, Shakuntala and Kautilya, Arthashastra in native languages. Children, I hope this is clear. Native sources are produced by native writer in a native language. It may be any native language. May you take Kannada, Sanskrit, then Tamil, Telugu, Hindi. This is our native language. So it has found in a local language. Whereas foreign sources is written by ambassador, one who visited the country. They wrote in their own languages. Example, you can take UN science, UK you can take. Right? This and Ptolemy's geography is the another example for a foreign literature. And another one is oral literature. Oral literature is the where literature and the story or the history of the particular place narrated in the form of a song, folk tale or a story. I'll repeat, children. Oral literature is where the history are repeated or told in form of a story, folk tale and drama. This is the oral literature. Is it clear, children, till now? And I told that archaeological sources that I will continue in the next part of the class. So today we will take up archaeological sources. Okay, children, what is archaeological sources? Archaeological sources, in the sense, this is very important part of our sources, because Archaeological sources is that part of a sources where we will get sources on anything hard material. In the sense that history was written on anything hard material, or history which was written on anything hard material. You may thinking why man is repeatedly telling hard. In the sense that history was written on anything hard. What you may known as hard, either it is a stone, isn't it, or a wood, right? There we will get the what? Sources, anything or something written on a hard material, that we will consider as the archaeological sources. Okay children, in the archaeological sources there are many types that I will tell you, and before that archaeological sources, how you will identify the archaeological sources, on what basis you are identified as a sources. How you will identify children? See, archaeological sources found on the surface of the earth as well as on the depth of the earth. Children, I will repeat. Archaeological sources are found on the surface of the earth. At the same time, it is found on the depth of the earth. So, see, this is the sources where it is available on surface of the earth. Isn't it, children? Surface of the earth means this is a writing. Literary work at all are writing. You may get it in the form of a book. It means that it is available on a earth. It may be a library, right children? There you will refer it, and that is our archaeological sources. That is our literary sources. Whereas archaeological sources, children, this is anyhow written on a hard material. Archaeological sources written on a hard material, and as I told, it is found on surface of the earth as well as on a depth of the earth. Is it clear? So, suppose it is on the surface of the earth, yes, we can get it, we can study it as the sources. My question is that, suppose if it is on the depth of the earth, how you will find it? How you will find it? So, the process of digging earth to get the sources, that process was called as a excavation. Is it clear children? The sources which are available on the depth of the earth, that will be get by the scientific digging method, and that method was called as a excavation. Is it clear children? Excavation is a scientific method of digging earth to get the sources. That is called as the excavation. See children, here after that, remember the scientific term where we are using in a source. One who tells the history, or one who makes us to study the history, he was called as a historian. And how we will get the sources? Through the way of a excavation. Clear children? By doing an excavation, we are clear that that is the sources. Because see, we know the history very well, right children? But without the help of a historian or without the help of an excavation, we cannot tell that that is the what sources which related to the history. Children, because I tell you why this is called as an excavation. Suppose you will get the one particular type of a sources, right? That you want to know history, or that you want to consider as a sources. How you will consider as a sources, children? Do you have any proof? Do you have any identification to prove it as a sources? No. You know only it may be related to one particular period. Isn't it children? Are you clear what I am telling, that you are getting one particular type or any one particular thing, and you are sure that it is belong to a history or it is something related to a sources. You want to know that that particular thing belongs to which period, what is written on that, right? But you are not able to make it, right? And in that case, excavation and historian will help us to study the history. Why I told this? Because now we are going to refer types of archaeology. Types of archaeology. archaeology types, that is, first in that inscription. Coins, monuments, and last one is other ruins. So children, in the first type of archaeology we will refer inscription. What is inscription, children? Inscription that is written on a hard material or a stone. Something which is written on a stone or any other than stone which is hard material, that was called as the inscription. Inscription particularly we find it on stone only, right children? That is the inscription. And inscription which is written on a stone, that we will consider as the inscription. Okay, now the thing is, in the inscription, in your textbook there is a picture of a one stone, vertical stone. The inscription may be available in the form of a vertical stone or in a horizontal form. That is the inscription. On the inscription, you may get it in any language. It may be in a Prakrit language, Brahmi script, or a Kannada script. Anything you may get, but it will be comes in a old form, because now we are not using that form of a script. Now we are in the present form, different kind of a script. But you have to consider inscription means earlier form of a script, children. Okay, so inscription. Earliest inscription was Ashoka's inscription. Ashoka's inscription is a well-known inscription that was in a Prakrit language and Brahmi script, children. Ashoka's earliest inscription. Ashoka's inscription is the first inscription which found in a Prakrit language and Brahmi script. Later you got Samudragupta's Allahabad pillar inscription and Pulakeshi's Aihole inscription. You may ask, ma'am, why and what is the inscription of these inscription? Example I take Pulakeshi's Aihole inscription. Okay, Pulakeshi's Aihole inscription. What does it signify? Children, you may ask, ma'am, what is the significance of this inscription or why they made the inscription? Because, see, example I like to give, Pulakeshi's Aihole inscription. These inscription he has erected or he has made on to commemorate the victory of Pulakeshi on Harshavardhana. In the sense, in one of the war, he has defeated the ruler called Harshavardhana. Clear, children? To celebrate that victory, he has constructed the inscription called Aihole. Is it clear, children? Suppose you won any national award or you won any state award. To celebrate that victory, what you will do? Nowadays you have a selfie, right? You will take a selfie on the background where you are stood. That will come, and that is your memory where you will celebrate your past. Whereas in those days they are celebrating or they celebrated their victories in the form of an inscription. Whenever they won anything, they used to commemorate their victory in the form of an inscription. They take up a stone, they used to write there with whom they had war, when they had finished up, what was the end and beginning of the war, whatever the form of the war, everything they used to write in inscription. That is the inscription. So for us, earliest form of the inscription was Ashoka's inscription. Later on, Samudragupta's Allahabad pillar inscription. Samudragupta's Allahabad pillar inscription, in the sense that inscription was written on a pillar. Is it clear, children? Inscription was written on pillar. That was Allahabad pillar inscription. Now I told that Pulakeshi's Aihole inscription. This is a normal inscription where Pulakeshi has wrote about the victory of himself. He wrote about himself where he got victory on Harshavardhana. And another was there Uttarameru inscription. Uttarameru inscription of Cholas first. Uttarameru inscription where Cholas they will write on a rural administration. Rural administration in the sense, children, now you know, panchayat, municipal such kind of administration you know now at present, right? In those days, Uttarameru inscription of Chola's kingdom has narrated the rural administration of their time. So each inscription will tell some of the economic life of their country, languages, and victory of the king, and other king, how he was wise and he has love with his kingdom, that they will narrate. So I hope inscription is clear. The next one was in the archaeological sources was coin. In the coin, there you will basically consider metal technology, because you know that for coins they will use many kind of the metal. It may be a gold, silver, copper. Such kind of the material will be used. Especially you may ask, ma'am, what the coin refer about? Coin will refer about the prosperity of the kingdom, economic life of the kingdom. Example you take Muhammad bin Tughlaq. I like to give children this. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is not there in your syllabus. Just for to make you clear and I will tell you. In the coin, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, what he had made first in his kingdom, he had copper coin for a circulation, for regular circulation. He had a copper coin. Later, what he had made, he made it gold coin to circulation to show that his kingdom is well and prosperous. When he made a gold coin for a circulation, people started to hold it. People start to hold that gold coin, so that in the economy, the gold or the circulation of the money has came to reduce. So that he realized that by circulating gold coin he has made a blunder. Then again he brought to copper coin. So mainly the coins will show the prosperity of the country. And many of the things what they have done, they are minting specially coin to show their title. They used to engrave on a coin the title of their king, and they will make it to circulation and the age, duration of the coin. Especially now you take the coins of our particular period, there you will get to see national emblem, any particular leader, and the time when the coin was minted, that you will get to see in the coin. So in those days also the king used to produce coin to tell their period or their title, their economic prosperity, their religion, their worship of a god, that has to engrave on the coin. Clear? The next one is monuments. Monuments are all clear, because monuments and coins, sorry children, in the inscription we will engrave, on coin we emboss. Are clear? Inscription are engraved, coins are embossed. Then monuments are constructed to show the architectural life of the kingdom. Example you take Gol Gumbaz, Taj Mahal. Why the Taj Mahal was constructed? Taj Mahal was constructed in the memory of a Mumtaz by Shah Jahan. Gol Gumbaz, Qutub Minar, Red Fort, in such kind of the monuments are available still now. It mainly shows the architectural form of the kingdoms. When it comes to monuments, we have many Indian architecture, Ajanta, Ellora, then Hampi. Such kind of the monuments also tells that is sources of archaeological. Children here has told that excavation. You may ask how the excavation related to inscription, coins and monuments, because few of the things which are still going to excavated in the sense which are recently seen in the Hampi, they still the excavation is going on, because they lost many of the stupas. Stupas means it was like a pillar, and many of the hands of the statues has been found inside that was still going on to dig. And when still they are going to dig they used to get the coins. Isn't it clear? That the purpose where excavation is useful, because during the excavation a team of a historian will come. They have their own scientific method to prove that is the sources. They will identify the script languages which were used. That's the purpose where excavation is used. And remaining thing is that other ruins in the sense, here see I told monuments are there, coins are there, inscription are there. If suppose these three types are destroyed or they are broken, in that case it will come as the other ruins, and it will be identified by the scientific method called carbon 14. Carbon 14 is a method where they will identify the ruin inscription sources. That is some scientific process where they will identify the broken things and they will read it and they will refer it and they will identify. That process was called as a carbon 14. So children, here the lesson will end up. I will summarize that in the last class we studied literary sources. In the literary sources types as written and oral. In written sources there are native literature and foreign literature. And today we started archaeological sources. Archaeological sources mean sources which are written on a hard material. In that we are made it as a classification that inscription, coins, monuments and other ruins. Inscription is a sources which are available on a hard material such as a stone or a rock and wood. That is the inscription. In that first inscription, earlier inscription was Ashoka's inscription, which was in a Prakrit language and Brahmi script. Language is different, script is different, children. Okay. Kannada is a language as same it as a script, whereas Prakrit is a language, whereas the Brahmi is a script. And Pulakeshi's Aivada inscription, Samudragupta's Allahabad pillar inscription, and Uttarameruru inscription of a Chola dynasty. These are the examples for the inscription. And the coin is tell the history of a social life, economic life, cultural life of the kingdom based on the material which they use. And monuments is a sculpture or a temple or the fort, which are the example for the monuments. And other last method was other ruins. In that destroyed inscription are identified on the basis of a method called carbon 14. And here I forgot to tell you excavation. Excavation is a scientific method of digging well to found the archaeological sources. Excavation is a scientific method of digging earth to get the archaeological sources. So children, here the lesson comes and what you have to do that you have to read the entire lesson from the beginning so that you will get